Hello Year 1, welcome to our second week of homeschooling. I'm Miss Maidlow. I'm going to be teaching your maths learning this week, and this week we're learning about length. So I need you to think back to when you were in reception. Can you remember what the word length means? What you might be doing if you're measuring length? How you might measure length? How we could compare lengths? What sort of words could we use when we're comparing length? That's super important today because our learning objective is, can I compare length? Now, to help us out with that, we need to think about our mathematical words, our mathematical vocabulary when we are measuring length. So we might talk about how much shorter one object is than another, or which object is the shortest. If we're thinking about things that are lying down, we might think about what is longer or the longest. Make sure that's the right way up. Okay, so our topic is all about vehicles. It's our on the move topic. So I've got some vehicles to help us with our learning today. I have a fire engine, a car, blue car, and a green bus. Now I want you thinking, which of these vehicles is the shortest vehicle? What do you think? Absolutely right. The car is the shortest vehicle. Now which one is the longest? What do you think? Right, well, it's quite tricky, isn't it, between these two vehicles? They're quite similar size, but if you said the green bus, you would be absolutely correct. Now, if we put these vehicles, just to check and compare their length, we can put them nose to nose, and we would be able to see that the green bus is just a little bit longer than the fire engine. Now, I would like us to now order these vehicles from shortest to longest. Would we need to move any of those vehicles if we had the shortest here and the longest there? What do you think? Well done, we would have to move them. Now we know the car is our shortest vehicle, so that would need to come at the beginning of our ordering. And our green bus was the longest vehicle, so that would need to come at the end. How could we describe the fire engine? What could you say? Could you use these words, longer or shorter, to describe the fire engine? What do you think? Now, if we thought about the fire engine, it's quite a middle-sized vehicle, isn't it, in our order, but it is shorter than the green bus, sorry, lost my words there, green bus, but what is it longer than? Absolutely right, it is longer than the blue car. So we're using all of this mathematical vocabulary to help us when we're comparing our length. Now, that's how we compare the length of things. Sometimes we need to compare the height of things, and when we do that, we use different words to longer and longest. Do you think you know which word? We might talk about how something is. Can you guess? Well done. How tall something is. So we might talk about which is taller, or you guessed it, which one is the tallest. Well done. Now I'm going to move these vehicles, and I've got some other objects to help us with our learning this time. We have, oh, who's this? Yeah, we have a minion. And next we have, who's this? Well done, Captain America's helping us to learn about measuring height, we have this little character. Who's this? Ryder from Paw Patrol. And finally, we have, who's this? Iron Man. Absolutely right. So we have 4 objects now that we're looking at. Which of these is the tallest? Well done. It's really clear, isn't it, that Iron Man is the tallest of these objects. But which one is the shortest? It's quite tricky to see, isn't it? So I'm going to move them a little bit closer. I'm going to put them onto something. Hopefully they will kind of stand up so we can measure the height and see which one is indeed the tallest. What do you think? Just a little bit. Ryder is just a little bit taller, isn't he? So we've got our minion there who is the shortest, and Ryder is a little bit taller. Okay, now if we were going to put these in order from shortest to tallest, would I need to move any of those objects? Yes, I would, wouldn't I? So where do you think Captain America would move to? Well done. He goes at the end of our order. Now, have we ordered them now from shortest to tallest? Do we need to swap anyone else over? Yes, we do. We need to move the minion because he was our shortest in height, wasn't he? Well done. Brilliant learning so far. Give yourself a marshmallow clap. Well done. I'm just going to move these out of the way a little bit because, you know, Miss Maidlow loves chocolate and she loves cake. She loves chocolate cake. But I was so disappointed when I came downstairs and I went to take my chocolate bar and Nick, naughty Nick, had eaten some of my chocolate bar. So to help us with our reasoning part of our learning, I would like you to tell me whether Nick was right with his thinking. He said to me, I ate some of your chocolate bar, so now it's longer. Was he right? Or do you think he was trying to trick me? I think he was trying to trick me. Why? You're right. Well done. It's got shorter, hasn't it? So by eating the chocolate bar, it has got shorter. Okay. I'm just going to move these from my board because I've drawn 2 lines on my board. And I have a straight line and I have a wriggly line. I want you to think about which of these lines are the longest and which one do you think would be the shortest and why. Have a talk, even if you're talking to me at the computer, or maybe tell an adult near you or any brothers and sisters. Which one is longer and why do you think that? Quite tricky to tell, isn't it, when they're drawn on the board? Now, I've got some string to help us with our learning. Oh, and I've lost the other string, hold on. It's very, very strange teaching you from my kitchen rather than teaching you in the classroom. I usually have all my things on my step, so it's very odd. But we'll get used to it, won't we? We will get used to it. So I've got this string here. That is the same length as this line. I've got another string that I've used and I've cut to size that is the same length as this wiggly line. Okay, so which one did you say you thought was the shortest? This one? This one? Absolutely right, it is this one. So if we actually compare this, I might have to move it further away. This was the top line, the straight line. The wriggly line is much longer. It's almost double the length again. So the wriggly line was actually longer. So well done if you said that. Right, we have just one last part of our learning to do on the computer today before you get on and move on to your task, and I talk to you about all of the different activities that you need to do. Now, I've got a lovely book. I love this. It's called Bunnies on the Bus. Okay. I want you to have a look at this picture. It's a picture of a town. How could you compare what you can see in the town? Can you see anything that is taller than something else? Which building do you think is the tallest? Which building do you think is the shortest? What else could we compare? We could compare maybe the clothes on the line, which ones are the longest and shortest? What can you compare? Just use this last moment to tell me as many different things as you can that you can compare in this picture. Well done. You've done amazing learning today, Year 1. Well done. Lift your arm up, bend your elbow, give yourself a pat on the back. Now today, for your learning activities, we have got a few different things that you can do in your house. So the first activity that I'd like you to have a go at is to choose 5 things. It could be like me, choosing toys. They are my boys' toys, not my actual toys, but you could choose your toys. Maybe you've got some toys in your house that you would like to measure, and maybe you could measure which is the shorter or shortest, which is the taller or the tallest, which one is the longer if you're measuring the length of something, or the longest. And I'd like you to choose 5 objects that you can measure and put in order from the shortest to the longest, or the shortest to the tallest, like we did. If you've done that and you thought, oh, that was super easy, I'm so clever, I'm going to move on now, I'd like you to have a go at using a little piece of paper and seeing if you can label the tallest or the shortest or the longest, and then maybe take a picture and maybe email that to myself or Mrs. McManus, or if you're in Little Greaves you can send that to Miss Nee, and we can see all of the maths learning that you're doing from a lovely picture. Now the next thing you could do, maybe if you've got an adult or a brother and sister at home, or maybe you've got a lovely teddy that you can talk to, maybe tell your teddy or your grown up or your brother and sister, could you compare them? Could you talk about them? Could you say, this object is taller, this object is shorter, and use those really important maths measuring terms? And if you want a little bit of an extension, if you've done those things and you think, I'd like to do a little bit more maths learning, there is a sheet that we have put onto the website that you can print off, and it gives you an idea of measuring something against maybe a book, and I want you to try and find everything that is longer than your book, or everything that is shorter than your book. Or if you didn't want to use a book, you could use your hand. How many things can you find that are longer than your hand? How many things can you find that are shorter than your hand? And can you record that either by drawing the object? So if I drew my pencil, I could just draw it on there on the side that says longer than, and I could even have a go if I wanted to, writing and labelling that object too. Could you do that for a few different objects to find out what's longer or shorter than your hand or your book? Or you might want to use a teddy and see what's taller than your teddy or shorter than your teddy. And again, if you do that, it'd be lovely if you took a picture and we could have a little look. If your mummies and daddies or grown-ups at home could send that and email that through to us. We'd love to see what you're doing. Right, we've been really busy this morning. It sounds like you've got a few busy ideas that you can get on with now. And I will see you again tomorrow for our next maths learning.